So today we are finally getting back to work on the K24 Sefiro build. The poor thing's been sitting for a couple of weeks now with no real progress made because race season has started and the whole race program aspect of things is taking up a lot of time, getting the truck ready, getting the trailer ready, upgrading the trailer, getting a new trailer, and then of course prepping the race car, doing upgrades to it, breaking it, fixing it, running it. It's taken up a lot of time. So the K24 Sefiro build has just kind of been over here in the corner waiting for its time, but we finally have some time and I am really excited to put some hours in on this thing because the LS Miata has been built for 3 years and we're upgrading stuff here and there and fixing stuff. We got to get it done by a certain time to get to the track, and it's got to work and it's got to perform, and you're weighing what to do and what not to do and not wanting to change too much. Whereas this, we've got a blank template. Obviously we're a good bit of the way there, but we're doing everything for the first time exactly how we want to do it. And it's nice, man. It's therapeutic. I really enjoy the projects on this car. Again, it's just a different thing than keeping up with a race car. So yeah, all that being said, we do have some more stuff to do on the intake intercooler side of things. We need to build an intake, but kind of waiting on some parts to do that and deciding exactly how I want to do it all. So instead of building that and potentially rebuilding it, what we're going to build now is another very important piece of the puzzle: the exhaust. Well, the downpipe and then the whole exhaust. That is the game plan. So it's going to be a pretty elaborate downpipe. It's got to kind of snake through what ends up being a pretty small opening, and then we're also going to be recirculating the wastegate dump into the exhaust as well, which the wastegate's going to go on here. So it's going to be a tight fit to get everything to line up and go where it needs to go. So should be a nice, fun, challenging project. I'm excited for it. I love the fab stuff, man. It's my favorite. So we do have our new Fronius Magic Wave 230i. We've done some aluminum welding with it. Haven't really done any stainless yet, so I'm super excited to use it. Since we are doing stainless, I need a bigger cup, and I don't have the stuff for the factory Fronius torch to put a bigger cup on it yet. So we're gonna try my old CK torch on here. I'm kind of curious. I like this torch a lot better. This is a much sleeker package. The hoses are just way smaller. Everything's lighter and more maneuverable, but we need to put a big cup on this and run this torch. So I got the adapter for it. We're gonna try it on, and I don't know, it'd be kind of fun to see how this welder feels with my old torch that I put so many hours on. So yeah, enough jibber jabbering about it all. Let's dive in. Let's get to work. All right, so we've got 3 of these kits, which have a 90, 45, and then a 4-foot straight section. So that should get us there. We've got our wastegate. We've got a Turbo Smart 44, 65, 45. 44 is the common number. Oh, we have one more thing. Some 1 3/4 piping for our dump recirc tube. Nice bellow flex joints, V-bands, got our flange for our turbo, and we got our little baby flex joint for the wastegate recirc tube. So moral of the story is we got everything we need, should have everything we need to build out this whole exhaust. I also bought a box of pie cuts. I just figured save time, make things quicker, buy them pre-cut. We need to get the wastegate in position. That way we can kind of figure out our dump tube angle, clock the turbo, all of that before we start building our downpipe. Enough jibber jabber, let's get to work. All right, I think I'm good with that orientation as a starting point. You can see the wastegate outlet is pointed down and to the left to clear this runner here. I'll have to test fit a piece in there, make sure that looks like it's gonna work. It's gonna be tight. We're gonna have to tight 90. It's all gonna be tight. You get it. You get the idea. So I guess let's get the flange on here, start taping some pie up, and see what kind of kerbobbleness we gotta do to make that downpipe work. New word, I don't know where that came from. All right, so we've got our Borg Warner specific flange here. I guess it uses like a proprietary flange. Yeah, it's got like an interesting fire ring. Make sure this is gonna fit. Does this start us off nice? Yeah, there we go. Ooh, that feels good. Because obviously we can caulk this wherever when we put it on and then build from there. Sweet. Ooh, that's tight. Why is that so tight? Well, I guess that works. All right, before I get further into this, I'm gonna go ahead and tack this first piece into the clamp, just because there's no good way to tape it. And you know, when I'm pushing and pulling on this, it just keeps popping out. So we need that relationship to be fixed, but I think you can see where we're going with this. Basically just wanna keep it away from the clutch master, the brake master, get it kind of tucked over to the engine. It doesn't really matter if it's that close to the engine itself. But yeah, we want to stay away from this stuff. We'll probably put a heat shield here too, but we'll have to figure that part out when we get there. One step at a time. Let's try out the Fronius on stainless and tack this thing together. Toss it back on the car and keep playing Legos. All right, went ahead and threw the car on the lift so we could kind of get our B point in place. So this is B, that's obviously A. We need to go from A to B. So we've got a 45 down there. That puts us kind of perfectly, follows the line of the car. So we just need to go from here to there or here to there. We might change this up some. So I wanted to pie cut the whole thing, ideally, just for aesthetics. Like this, I didn't pie cut the whole thing originally and it looked kind of goofy. But in this situation, the distance we need to go, we can't keep pie cuts the whole way because, I mean, if we did, we'd just have to squiggle back and forth for no reason, right? So anyway, gonna cut a straight piece and then try to pie cut from there down, probably get another straight piece and then some pie cuts to there because I'm also running pretty low on pie cuts. We don't have that many. I mean, I can obviously cut more, but prefer not to. So anyway, this is where we're at. Enough jibber jabber. I'm gonna cut some straight pieces to play with and see if we can't go from A to B here. All right, so I got a 2, a 3, a 4, and a 5. Just so we have options. Oh, no. Oh. All right, well, the tape can only hold on for so long. We're in the neighborhood. I'm happy with this concept. We should be able to make it work with some more pie cuts. So I'm gonna, dang it, not again. Not again. I was gonna say I'm gonna pull it out and tack it because it keeps falling apart, but it beat me to it there. We're just gonna take this part out and tack it before this one falls apart too. All right, well, I fiddled with this a couple different ways, and I think I came up with something that I'm happy enough with to tack it so it doesn't fall apart. So I ended up putting a shorter straight piece in. It had like a 2-inch, just under 2-inch. It went down to 1.25 inches, which tucks us back just like far enough to where we are as far away as we can be from the clutch, but far enough forward to clear this runner. So yeah, chipping away at it. All right, now that we've got the bulk of the squirrely-do tacked together, we can start trying to figure out the rest of it. I do kind of hate that this is a polished piece and then the rest isn't, but you know, maybe we'll grind it down or something. All right, well, we're kind of in no man's land at this point, right? So I put a straight piece on at the end of the pieces that I tacked together, and then we'll pie cut our way from X to Y at this point. There's a lot of pieces. But overall, I'm happy with how it's coming out. It's looking good so far. It's pretty much what I envisioned. Plenty of clearance to get to the wastegate. I mean, we could literally pull the wastegate off with the downpipe still on. So it's coming together. It's coming together. This is going to be just the tricky part because it's going to be hard to get to it. But let's lift this thing up and try to finish this out. All right, use the last of the pie cuts, and I think we're lined up pretty good. We need it to be like that, so we need one more, I think. All right, little experiment here. Like I said before, I don't have the stuff to put my big TIG cup on here. And I've always welded stainless with a big TIG cup. I want to try it with this little number 6. I just like this Fronius torch so much better. It's so much lighter. I'm just curious. I want to see what happens. We're going to tack. You know, we'll see what the discoloration is like in comparison. But we've got this pretty close. Like I said, I'm out of pie cuts. I'm going to have to cut one more going this way. Will get us where we need to be. But we'll find out. All right, got it tacked. Pull the tape off, throw a couple more tacks on it. Cut some pie. Try to get to the end of this puzzle. Man, one thing I need to get better at is cutting material, because the fit up on these pre-made pie cuts is perfect. And makes it a lot easier. Weld's probably gonna come out a lot nicer. I suck at cutting stuff, I guess. All right, well, that is part 1. I just remembered I have a cold cut saw. Should do this better. Man, I wish I would have remembered I had that thing a while ago. I rarely use it because most of the time when I'm cutting exhaust stuff, I'm cutting corners and you can't really clamp them in there to cut them with that. So I cut them with a bandsaw, but it's a much more precise straight cut with that. So anyway, we got some more pie cuts now. No need to stress about running out. Stacked up. So yeah, last bit, man. Last bit. All right, well, we are very close. Kind of funny, you can see the difference in fit up on the pre-made pie cuts, like perfect fit up all the way around. And then my pie cuts, it's like, all right, ooh. Definitely all right, but yeah, fit up not quite as good. So I'm glad we used the nice pie cuts up top so we can get some nice pretty welds, or at least try to. So cool, toss this back in, try to get this last bit. We're gonna need to V-band it pretty soon after this, otherwise we're not gonna be able to get it in and out easily, but I don't wanna throw the V-band on until I know it all fits. So I added 2 more, and we're pretty well perfect on angle with those 2. And we can kind of come out with this thing anywhere we want. So if you see, that's it butted up. Boom. Tack the V-band on here because we've got a good angle to get to the clamp. And then get this tacked on, and this will be the start of the actual exhaust from the downpipe. Like I said, normally, you know, a lot of times downpipes run to about here. But 1, ideally we don't want the clamp at the lowest point. 2, getting this in and out, we want to be simple and easy. So yeah, the rest of it shouldn't be too bad, pretty straightforward. We got pretty open space. The only thing is I'll go way out of my way to keep my exhaust tucked up as high as I can. We are in an oddball situation with this car being right-hand drive, but the K series would be better in a left-hand drive car because all our important stuff's over there and our exhaust is over there. And if you see, this is where the exhaust would naturally have run. We could have tucked it up a lot higher, but the lowest point's still the same. We'd still have to clear this, just like we have to clear this over here. So anyway, moral of the story is I'm trying to keep the exhaust tucked up as high as possible. That is always priority number 1 for me with building an exhaust system, is just as tight up to the car as I can possibly get it. If that means having to pie cut somewhere no one's gonna see them and I'm not gonna see them, it's worth it to me to get it up there. So I'm jibber jabbering on here. Let's weld these pie cuts on, get a V-band clamp tacked on there, and see if we can't finish out this downpipe and start working on our wastegate restart tube. That's gonna be just as complicated. Tape got a little cooked on that one. All right, reinstall number 76. All right, let's see if we can make the other end work. We got good clearance everywhere though. Got plenty of clearance for that. Oh, that's perfect though. Oh, that's exciting. It was like the perfect angle. We just gotta cut this shorter. Oh, perfect. All right, remember how I said even if it's way more complicated, I'm going for ground clearance? Well, if we run it this way, tuck it up here, and then kind of come over by the drive shaft. I think we can cut this a little shorter and get even more clearance, but as of right now, it looks like we'll be right at the bottom of this frame rail. Whereas if I run it straight back like this, then we end up below the frame rail a bit. But before I go through trying to tack this and whatever, I wanna go ahead and weld out the downpipe and start working on the wastegate recirc, because you know this end might move just a little bit once everything's all welded out and everything pulls and heats and shrinks. We'll weld it out and then worry about this next. But we at least know we can get from the flange we welded on here under the car pointed straight. So that's all I wanted to make sure of before I welded the downpipe itself. All right, well, we've got a lot of welding to do. I started counting and I stopped at 20. So there's a lot of weld. Should be fun. Should be rewarding, but definitely gonna be time consuming. I'm trying to mess around with some pulse here. Alright, I'm going to try to switch back to the big cup. This cheaper material than the pre-made pie cuts. It's coming out gray. I'm fusion welding a lot of this because the fit up's so good on most of it. We can just fusion weld it. All right, well, just a midway update. We've gone from pretty much up over there, almost halfway around. We're about okay, we're not halfway around. We're about halfway around. On this part, I've still got to go the other halfway from here down. But, man, it's going pretty dang good, boys, I gotta say. One, good fit up, mixed with a much nicer welder than I've ever had before. Equals a lot better welds. I am so happy with this thing. The pulse settings are insane. We got frequency. We can change this by 0.01 hertz at a time. And then we've got background current, duty cycle. We've got waveform pulse on both the background and the on time, right? So we can change, like I've got a hard edge on the background and then a soft leading edge into it. Like, it's crazy, dude. This thing is crazy. It's crazy. I mean, I'm a firm believer in better equipment doesn't make you better to an extent, but this has definitely made me a better welder. Or not so much made me a better welder as made my welds come out better, but you get the idea. All right, I'm jibber jabbering on. I'm gonna put the music back on, get back to welding. All right, well, I think you guys get the idea of what welding this looks like. We'll just snap our way through it. Done, boys. Man, came out pretty dang solid. I'm happy with that. So I gotta let it cool down. It's pretty toasty. We still have to weld the V-bands, but I need to clamp this V-band, the other side of it, to try to keep it from warping. And I want to test fit it back in there before I do that and just make sure it didn't move too much before I weld the V-bands out, because we can cheat it a little bit if we cut the tacks on the V-band. So anyway, cool down. We'll toss it in, see what it looks like all welded up and in the car. The only shame is this freaking thing shiny and the rest isn't, but once it gets heat cycled, this will turn the same color and look fine. Look at that. Would you just look at that? All right, well, fits back good. Still got good clearance to the block. Still got good clearance to the steering shaft. Everything fits as it should. Looks so nice in there. Oh, I'm so happy the welds turned out so good. I'm happy with the overall shape too. It worked out good. It worked out good. So we're gonna pull it back out, weld the V-bands. All right, now we're done welding the downpipe. Well, actually not quite, because we still got to do the recirc. We'll have to weld to it then, but you get the idea. All right, got the downpipe back on with the flanges all welded up. Everything looks good. We still got good clearance down there. I guess I could punch it a little bit more away from the steering shaft. Either way, we're good there. Next thing we need to do is build the wastegate recirc tube. I want to do that and have this fully finished out before I start on the rest of the exhaust. But as you can see, it is dark out and we are out of time. That downpipe took a hot minute. It was probably an hour to 2 hours of just welding. It was a long time. It takes longer than you think. And I felt like I was moving pretty quick, but man, it's like, I didn't count it, 30 to 40 welds. It's a lot of welds. So I'm really happy with how it came out. This is kind of exactly what I envisioned. It fits so good. It fits so good. We had some tight stuff to work around, and I feel like this was like the best possible outcome. We're clear of everything that we need to be clear of. We've got room. It's serviceable. It's easy to get it in and out. Like, I am very happy with the outcome, and it looks good. It's the best stainless welding we've ever done. That freaking Fronius, man. That thing's a ripper. So good. So anyway, I hate to end it there. I really wanted to get the recirc done too, but we have more pressing matters to attend to because we're taking the trailer and the car drifting this weekend, and we got to get that stuff knocked out. So we're going to have to end it here for now, but we'll pick this back up and we will slam out the rest of this exhaust. I hope to see you guys for that, but for now, that's going to be it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Goodbye.